We're making waves and keeping it real. It's Real Talk Rhode with Becca Berger.
Welcome to another episode of Real Talk Rhode. I had to bring in the pro this week. I came across this podcast. David Yontef, by the way, host of Behind the Velvet Rope. Hello. Thanks for coming on Real Talk Rhode.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing really well. So I've always heard of Behind the Velvet Rope. Obviously, you have made such a name for yourself in the Bravo community, but you did an interview with my fellow Rhode Islanders, Alexa and Matt Frazier, all about sort of their almost experience with Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I loved it. I've now been addicted to your podcast. So thanks for coming on Real Talk Rhode. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So how did this whole thing start? You were obviously someone who was very into Bravo and you love talking about Bravo. Where did the concept Behind the Velvet Rope come from?
Well, so I've had past lives. I have reinvented myself career-wise so many times. I used to practice corporate tax law back in another lifetime. Then I went into HR and recruiting, and then I had my own recruiting agency. So I've had a bunch of different backgrounds. I really wasn't doing much with my life when, so I sold my recruiting company, whatever. That was great. Put me in a situation to kind of figure out what I want to do next with my life. I wasn't really doing anything. And I kind of just fell into, I live between New York and LA. It's not that hard when we have like Jersey Shore in our backyard and Real Housewives of New York. And so I was actually hanging out with a bunch of housewives and or people on reality TV. It just kind of happened. It was organic. It's neither here nor there. So I was always like, there's something about this which maybe could be a business. So when I started my podcast, Behind the Velvet Rope, the real true inspiration truly was Wendy Williams in a way. It was like, we can go out to the Regency at night and have a drink, but I am going to talk about it the next day on air. It was kind of like these scenarios and situations which became, my everyday life were just normal to me. But I'm like, I think people, every time I would post a picture with a Countess Luann or something, there was such a visceral reaction. And I'm like, wow, maybe this is a business. People are so interested what these Bravo celebrities and housewives do when they're not on the air. So that's kind of how my podcast started within reason. It's easier for me now to just talk about whatever because it's successful and it's 6.5 years in. But, when I started, I was like, well, this is a really strange thing because look, if someone was going to go through a divorce or something major, I'm like, I can't reveal this on air. So it was supposed to be light and fluffy and Luann had an extra drink last night and Sonia did this. And so that's kind of how it's started 6.5 years ago. It's become something completely different, but that's where the name Behind the Velvet Rope came up. It was kind of let me take you into these people's lives off camera.
But don't you feel like your background in both that tax law and recruiting, I feel like that can apply to a lot of this business?
I never thought that in a million years when I started this podcast, but both of them apply completely. Look, what do you do when you're a lawyer? Because I've done a lot of interviews now. My podcast morphed into, we have 9 shows a week. We have a show every day, and 2 days we have an afternoon little show. So it's a full-time job. I've done a lot of interviews. I also dish a lot of the, dirt that's going on. So I never realized it, but yeah, I have no media training. I have no training in journalism. I started interviewing really big names, not just in reality TV, but actual celebrities, so to speak. And I just figured out how to do it. Law helps, what are you doing as a lawyer? You are backing people into a corner as a lawyer to get answers that you want. So it's the same set of skills. It's I'm asking you a question. You can answer this any way you want. It could be a wonderful positive answer. It could be a negative answer. But whatever the answer is, it's there's no way out of this question. It's going to be a thing either way. So law applies completely. And same thing with HR and recruiting. Law, what I do now in HR and recruiting, it's the same. You're basically asking questions. You're trying to find out about someone. So I never would have thought that in a million years. But yes, I feel I use, especially my law degree, but I use both degrees every day doing this job.
There's a lot of crossover is what it sounds like.
Totally. There's a lot of crossover.
Let's talk about some of your recent episodes. I was listening to one of your recent episodes, and I want to know more about this beef that you have with Tamra from OC.
Well, it's like first of all, I always say, 'cause, I do a lot of the gossip these days, but this really job, there's so many interesting people that do what we do. It's like none of it is personal to me. It's shocking. So like when this job is over for me one day, decades and decades from now, when I don't do this anymore, it's really nothing personal. I have nothing personal against anyone. The majority of people that dislike me in the Housewives community, and it seems to be more on a daily basis, which someone comes on my show, like Tamra. She came on my show like in 2020. They were really good episodes. It was like a double episode. We have a lovely talk. Everything goes well. You love me. I love you. No one's mad about anything. The show comes out and it gets viral press. In Tamra's case, I asked her, so what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Heather Dubrow, your co-star at the time? Or she was actually not on the show anymore, Heather. And listen, if you ask me what I think about Heather, I would say rich. I don't need to say anything else. Like that would be my answer. A good mother. She supports all her children. Her answer, it could have been anything. Her answer was the biggest mistake Bravo ever made was letting her go. Now, I didn't tell you to say this answer. This is what you said. And it went viral around the world. Tamra Judge confirms that Heather Dubrow was fired from the Real Housewives of Orange County. So now Tamra's upset and she's asking where does it say this? And it's like, listen, you've been doing this for a long time in radio. As a lawyer, I can tell you, whatever the quote is in People Magazine or on Wendy Williams or on Access Hollywood, whatever the quote is, Tamra, they didn't get it wrong. They're not just making up when there's quotes of what you said. Now, the headline, that, first of all, why are you calling me? I don't work for, these are not my headlines. Second of all, her argument was, well, I meant like, they were trying to work it out and they should have given her more money. And the biggest mistake they made is letting her walk away. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly what happened. And that's not exactly the tone you said it in. And even if you meant that, it's not such a stretch that the headline would be that she was fired when you said, Bravo, the biggest mistake they made was letting her go. Like, this isn't such a stretch in a headline. But also, again, I'm not People Magazine. I'm not Perez Hilton. I don't know why you're calling me. I have no control over this. I'm like, you need to get a mirror. Like, you actually need to go to the bathroom and look in the mirror because you're mad and you're mad at yourself. You're not mad at me. You wouldn't be calling Auntie Cohn. You wouldn't be calling, whoever. You're mad at me because you think I'm like some little person you can push around. That's why Tamra is mad at me. That is the period. And then, granted, I, through the years, have said, but it's not personal to me. I have nothing against her. As a housewife, look, she's one of the greats. She's been around forever. She does the job well. She was asked back. I don't think her future is in jeopardy at all. I don't see her going anywhere anytime soon. I think she's needed for the show. And by the way, even if I don't like you as a person, because I've had interactions with everyone now, I can still judge you objectively as a housewife of whether you're doing a good job or not. But Tamra dislikes me. I really don't dislike her, even though I do call her a rat. I am not the one that came up with the name, the Tam Rat. I did not come up with that. I do use it on my show, but I did not come up with that name. The people did.
Has she done your show since, or she won't come on your show now since 2020?
Oh, no, listen, there's a lot of people who won't do my show now, but I have to say my show morphed from Wendy Williams style to like really intensive interviews. Like, I basically interviewed every housewife there ever was. And now it's like really like, I love the behind the scenes, the numbers, like it really is a business to me, which running another business prior to this has helped with that. Like, the bottom line is, listen, I still do plenty of interviews. Like you mentioned that and Alexa, like I just had Captain Sandy on. The bottom line is my shows where I'm not interviewing someone, where I'm just dishing what's happened the night before or the week before, those shows do better. So I went from like Wendy Williams style to tons of interviews to kind of now, I personally phase the interviews out, although we do still have them, to like people just want to hear like the gossip, like Denise Richards is getting divorced. What do I think? They would rather hear that. So no, Tamra has not come back on my show. We're way past that. She's blocked me. I've blocked a lot of housewives on my own without them blocking me.
Any names that you care to say of who you've blocked?
I've blocked Vicky Gumbelson. Vicky reached out to me. like a year ago, I think I still have the text to say, it's come to my understanding that you're talking about me and you please stop. It's like, what? Like, you're not my boss. Like, when you're married to someone, you probably have to listen to them and work things out. When you have a mother who's older, who's asking you to do something, you should probably listen. When you have a boss, I suggest you probably listen. You don't want to be, I'm like, who the hell are you to be in my DMs and like demand that I speak kindly about you? So I was like, I had a few words for Vicky and then I blocked her.
What do you make of this whole notion? Because this happened, I believe, in the first episode of Real Housewives of Orange County this season, where a blogger sort of became part of the storyline. So, I mean, now you've seen the evolution of podcasters and bloggers now becoming almost part of the story. Need I even mention Monica and Reality Von Teese? What do you make of that?
I mean, I feel like, right, like we've seen bloggers mentioned. I mean, I've been mentioned on Salt Lake and Jersey and New York. A lot of podcasts that we've seen it on Salt Lake and New York and New Jersey. I just feel this is the world that we now live in. I mean, and this is no insult to anyone, but it's almost like I heard from people with certain information before my show became so huge. Like, I feel that Housewives, look, I've talked about this on my show, Behind the Velvet Rope, ad nauseum. Like, I'm not interested in it. Like, it's because I've had people, look, I've fallen out with all the Jersey Housewives because Margaret wanted me to spin one narrative. Teresa wants me to spin another. It's like, my show's not for it's not on the take. Like, I'm going to give my honest opinion, but that's what they do. But my advice to anyone that is starting out or is in a more junior state is like, it will never be about you. So when Katie or Emily or Tamra or Shannon reaches out or whoever it is, they don't give, I don't know if I could swear on here, so I won't if you don't want me to, but
I can bleep it out.
they don't give one F about you. They don't. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about you. So even Katie's season 2, but even if it was Tamra, it's like Tamra wants you to do something. I mean, I do hear from people now that tell me things and it's like, you're telling me this because you want me to be like one of these thirsty people that then puts this out on air. And I'm not even going to put this out on air because like, I don't even know if it's true. So I feel like it's the evolution of where we are. Like, the bloggers and podcasters that have a big voice have a say in it. But I feel if you're a housewife or someone on the TV and you're reaching out, like, you have your own agenda. And I feel sometimes the bloggers or the podcasters are so excited because they're a fan, and that's great. But it's like, this person does not care about you. So if you're going to be thrown a drink on a Tuesday night, or, hey, we'll give you an extra hello at BravoCon or whatever it is, just go for it if that's what you want to do. But it's never about you. And they are absolutely using you for their own narrative and for their own purpose. And if you know that and you get something out of it, great. Like, I know that. It's the definition of insanity. I've been in this situation in the trenches with Jersey, Teresa, Margaret, it's like, it just, that's what it is. It's any franchise. It is all about the housewife. And so if you want that, again, no criticism, but to me, it's like, I'm like, no, once I really set, like, look, I think you've been in radio for a long time. I think you're either of the people or you're of the establishment. I think that's what it is. Like, that's how the entertainment business works. So once I was like, I no longer care about the approval of Bravo or, getting a hello from Heather Gay walking down the street, that's when my show really blew up, because people were like, you're actually giving us like a real opinion. And most people, when I have a thought in my head, people disagree, but a lot of people are like, thank God someone's saying this, because this is what I was thinking.
It's refreshing to hear how self-aware you are. And I think that that's one thing a lot of us lack in this, not just industry. Yeah, I guess in this business that we found ourselves in. It's just that lack of self-awareness and forgetting why you're doing this at the core.
And I am like, listen, this is not an ego at all. I am such a self-aware person, possibly the most self-aware person I know. mind you, I have many shortcomings as a human being in life. This is not like, but I am really self-aware. And it's just really that definition of insanity of like when I first got in the business, I went through it once or twice and was promised, like, even from every aspect of the business, networks, publishers, PR people, hey, please do me a favor. If you interview this person, I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. Nobody's going to listen to this episode. If you interview this person, we're going to get you, Vicky and Tamra and Shannon all in one, and Bethany can stop by. And it's like, and those things never happen. Like, thank you for the promise. It's never going to happen. So I eventually just started saying, I will absolutely interview this person, but I need Bethany here first. Like the day before, we can do it the same day. You can't have the other person earlier. They can be at 3 and Bethany can be, otherwise, no, I'm not doing this. Now, plenty of people will, that's fine, but I've been down this road. So I feel like I am really self-aware, and I just, like, my loyalty in running my show Behind the Velvet Rope is first to myself and second to my audience. I say this all the time. The audience that listens to me, they're the ones that are affording this cup of coffee that I'm drinking. Like, they are the ones that are invested. I mean, 9 shows a week. I get it. I'm asking a lot of people. They listen. So my loyalty is towards them, to be honest with them. And I think that's when I realized, like, nobody wants to hear Tamra come on my show. I mean, they do, but not if there's some PR answer. And I mean, this is the thing with these interviews. Everyone's got an answer and it's all PR. And they would rather just hear me say, like, Tamra's been an a-hole last night on the show, and here's why. I mean, I say plenty of nice, happy things too. There's plenty of things that make me happy in the Bravo world. But I feel like once I did that, and I'm like, I just don't care anymore. If Meredith Marks is happy with me, I don't care if, I don't know, Melissa Gorga wants to block me. It's not that I'm out for any harm. I have nothing personal against anyone, but I'm just going to say what I want. That's when my show really took off. And it's just much more freeing.
Yes, once you can sort of get past all that noise. David Yontef, Behind the Velvet Rope is the podcast. Do you still get enjoyment out of watching Bravo, or do you feel like because this is now your livelihood, this is your job, it's almost like it feels almost like work?
I mean, listen, you asked some very good questions, maybe because of your 9, was it, years in radio? I mean,
18, but who's counting?
Oh, 18. Well, I mean,
I got a spray tan today and fresh Botox. That's why.
Seriously, I'm like 18. Okay. Yeah, that's why I when it comes to music and TV shows that I love, and when it comes to like being a lawyer and then having a business, those are when people are like, what? Like, how old are you? Like, what band is that? And I'm like, I'm just going to keep to myself on all this. But listen, it's a really good question because it doesn't feel like work. I absolutely positively love my job. However, it's not like I'm bitter or jaded. I'm just like the machine of what gets me excited or shocked. The bar is so high now. So there is a lot of stuff that I don't really watch. There is a lot of stuff which I'll like dip in. Like I cover everything on my show, and I can still have an opinion, but I really do the light version. Having said that, like, look, Beverly Hills, I'll watch start to finish. And look, I'm hoping the Real Housewives of Rhode Island does it for me. Salt Lake did it for me. I watch a lot that's like, I love Selling Sunset and Selling the OC. I always tell people I think those are 2 of the best reality shows in one. But no, I mean, you're right. Like, I think Next Gen is good, but no, like, I really don't watch a lot of stuff anymore. But I can still dip in and talk about it, and like, but yeah, it's a job. It doesn't feel like, I mean, it does feel like a job, but I don't. The pure joy I got of just sitting there and watching every episode of, Real Housewives of the OC season 3. No, that's a little.
It doesn't hit the same. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm still, I always, we're going to get into your thoughts on Rhode Island in a second, but I always go back to season 1, Real Housewives of New Jersey, and how I feel like I've been chasing that high for so many years.
Yeah, and it just doesn't really exist anymore. And so that's why people are like, are you going to BravoCon? Again, no arrogance, no looking down. No, I'm like, if they paid me to go to BravoCon as a commentator or I would go, but I am not interested. I go to 80s and 90s conventions because like I am a fangirl of things that outside of reality TV and outside of Bravo.
And do you wish you could, do you still talk about those things that are non-Bravo, or is it very Bravo reality show,
I
current
mean,
pop focused?
so like I do have a lot of like 80s and 90s celebs on my podcast. I mean, also I'm at the point where like I don't say yes to everyone, but a lot of times if someone's pitched to me and I'm like, oh wow, I never would have gone out of my way to find this person, but all I have to do is say yes, we can set up an interview. I'm like, sure. So that's where it's become a job, right? Like I might want to interview the other person down the street more, but I get some email from a publicist that's like, do you want to have this person on? And they have a book coming out. I'm like, well, this is easy. Sure. Again, I don't say yes.
Work.
Yeah, like I don't say yes to everyone, but I'm like, I know who this is, and it's a little self-indulgent, but at least it's a well-known actor or actress. So there's something here. So yeah, no, it does feel like work. The one thing I have to tell you, and like my friends know this, is like the one thing that I just have a pet peeve about is I just don't want to talk about Bravo in my personal time. Like I have a friend and he was having a going away party and I was at dinner and like he purposely just sat me next to two people that are huge fans of Bravo and they listen to my podcast. It's fine. Again, no arrogance, but I'm like, oh, it's Friday night. I don't want to
break.
Yeah. I just don't want to talk about it in my personal life.
So, we have a lot of big news around here with Real Housewives of Rhode Island. When you initially got the word that it was happening, and I'm sure you've probably known about it before the news came out, because this was like a year plus in the making. What were some of your initial thoughts, being somebody who does cover Bravo?
Well, yeah, people were in my DMs and like people, associated with like, oh, I'm on my 5th round. And I mean, I really didn't, like I'm on my 5th round, I'm going to get the show. And you're like, okay, well, call me when like you actually have a contract. Like, great. I'm glad you had a test. So that's where I'm like jaded until the contract is signed. Like I didn't think it was real. I heard, and then I started hearing from people that I know. And I'm like, wow, like if this person's in the mix, like, there was a time where I'm like, oh gosh, I think this might really be happening. But I did hear about it for a really long time and I have people in the DMs and I'm like, this is why is this going to happen? Look, I feel it's interesting. I mean, what interested me the most is, well, two things. I think, they try to reinvent, like you say, like it doesn't hit, Jersey doesn't hit you season 1. Like if you look at Salt Lake, like there's so much left there. We really, look, I think I'm very critical of Housewives, but in a way, we don't give it enough credit for this fact that other than Grey's Anatomy, which is still a great show.
I agree.
Right? Like it's still, it's like Ellen Pompeo, even with, they're all great, the whole thing. So it's like, things don't last that long. So it's like, you look at like a new franchise, like season 3, I mean, Salt Lake's in what, 5, 6? It has more life than the OC, even though they're trying to work it out. So if it's done right, it could be so many years. Like it could. So I think the fact that Salt Lake is a hit gives me hope. I really do think it's tied into Jersey. I can't help but think that all those things and everything it said, putting the Dolores of it all aside, like I do really think when you have Andy start to say, these are Italian Americans, it's going to give Jersey. Well, Jersey's not on. It hasn't been on for a year. So I said this, right? Because I heard about Rhode Island in Philly at the same time. And I don't think Philly's a real thing, but as soon as I heard about this, and I was like, it's real. I was like, wow, I think this might be a replacement for Jersey. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly how it's going to happen, but that's where my thoughts are. My thoughts are like, look, you can't reboot New Jersey because we'll never reboot a franchise again, period. We tried that. We did that with New York. It didn't work. We're in limbo. We don't know what's going on. Yeah, we have this hybrid thing in Atlanta, so maybe that's what they'll do. But I really feel if it wasn't for New York that they would have just started over in Jersey. I'm like convinced of it, which they won't do now because that's already a failure in New York. So I was like, but if you take the same concept of the new Teresa and Melissa and Dolores and you start in another city, it does get you out of the So I really think that this is greenlit a lot because of that.
Yeah, I think that that's what a lot of us think. We're talking to David Yontef from Behind the Velvet Rope. I do want to talk about the Dolores Catania of it all because this is pretty unusual as far as we've seen housewives appear on other cities and things like that. But this placing her this summer, allegedly, for weeks on weeks on weeks. Look, she's still here. She's going to the events around here. What do you make of that? Of almost having an ambassador here with a new city?
So that's what I was going to ask you because I only saw one thing online where she filmed like one thing, but she's just there. I mean, look, I imagine they paid for her rental house. I'm imagining. I don't. I mean, that's look. If it's organic, like I think it would have been better off just launching it without Dolores. It has nothing to do with whether I like her. It's just it's like stunt casting from day one. It's like this is what you do, like Chicago on Broadway. They cast Lisa Rinna, Erica Jane, Ariana, Pamela Anderson. You have to. It's been on Broadway for decades. Like no one's going to see Chicago, and then you go because you want to see Ariana. So you do that like years into a series. That's the only thing. Like I don't buy unless you can tell me otherwise by being a local. I don't buy that Dolores has these. Yes, maybe she knows someone. I don't buy it. I don't buy that this is an organic connection unless you can tell me otherwise. I'm open to listen.
There is an alleged cast member, and I even
Which
remember
one?
I don't. So one thing about me, David, is I don't use names yet.
Okay.
This is what has been, and maybe you can give me a little bit of advice on this. My one challenge, and I've talked about this in my episodes. I have never covered something so close. And Rhode Island, I'm going to the same TJ Maxx and the same Target as these people. We have people in common where we were already connected acquaintance-wise before they were even considered being cast, some of them. So I don't use names yet until I have Bravo saying, here at BravoCon, here are the ladies, or a few weeks prior, here are the ladies of Real Housewives of Rhode Island. So I've yet to use names, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for me. I'm just trying to stay protected as of right now.
I think it's okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, I think actually they are going to announce it at BravoCon. I think that's what I mean. We see the same names and we see the husband names. And so it's like, if you're telling me Dolores really has some organic connection, deep or semi-deep, I'll buy it.
Yeah, that's what we heard. I mean, this was even when casting was a rumor, right? So we go back to last June, and there were some names that were thrown out there. And I can't find the picture, and I'm so mad I didn't screenshot it. There was a picture of Dolores and one of the alleged cast members who recently, this weekend, had a Studio 54 party. It was filmed.
I saw that.
Her husband is turning 54. That was the whole. That was what the reason for the theme. And, you know, the other interesting thing about Real Housewives of Rhode Island is there is an established cast, but there also seems to be a lot of friend ofs. And I can't remember a first season that had so many potential friend ofs unless they're going to film a bunch of friend ofs and then decide to cut later.
I think that's what they're going to do. I mean, look, we forget there were 10 people one season. I think Kathy Hilton's first season on Beverly Hills. We had 10. So, but I think that's the wrong way to go for a new show. I mean, they're not going to have 10 full time.
No.
I think they're going to just figure it out. I think that's kind of the new way they do it with a lot of these shows. They just see where the chips fall. So, I mean, and that's my thing. Like, I'm not convinced Dolores is going to be a friend of. I mean, look, I don't think she's going to be a cast member.
A guest, if you will.
A guest, right. So if she's in like, look, we had Sheena and Lala on the Valley. If she's in a few episodes,
scenes, yeah,
two, I think that's how I'm picturing it. I don't think they need her, and it's just nothing to do. It's hard to go from one show to the next and really blend.
It is. David, I want to thank you so much for coming on Real Talk Rhode. You know, you're one of these people I could talk to you for like hours, but you have
I will come back anytime you want.
you have 9 episodes to tape this week. So obviously your time is extremely precious, but yes, let's definitely have you back because we're just in filming right now. We're not even in editing. We haven't even launched. And as we just talked about, we haven't even gotten an approval on the cast yet, like an actual cast. So there's a lot
I
to talk about.
imagine when it comes out, though, not to cut you off, like
No.
you will be boots on the ground. I
Yes.
mean, everyone's going to cover this show. You are a local, like I do these weekly radio shows with Sarah, and she grew up on the radio in DC. So she knows all the Potomac ladies. So I think it'll just be, I mean, it's a small place, right? In Rhode Island.
Very.
So I think I think there will be a need for it. You know, look, nobody wants it to be good as much as I do. You know what I mean? Like I'm not negative. I'm hoping for the best. I'm
Cautiously optimistic.
Look, I think it's all about the cast, right? Like that's what they did in Salt Lake. They have gold. I mean, every one of them has something to offer. So if they really chose the right cast, unlike the New York reboot, it'll be a great hit. So
yes, I agree with you.
And anyone could listen to me on Behind the Velvet Rope, wherever you get your podcast, by the way. Just have to get that plug in there.
You have to. You have to. Behind the Velvet Rope. David, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.